Today we remember and memorialize the lives that we lost in that terror attack on September 11th. It's been 24 years since nearly 3,000 people in the unimaginable act of violence took place. The deadliest terrorist attacks in American history led to massive casualties in New York City and the Pentagon and Shanksville, Pennsylvania. Robert Sliwak was known for his easygoing nature, humor, athletic ability, and on 9/11, at 42 years old, Robert showed up for work as a bond broker at Cantor Fitzgerald and was killed when the first plane struck the top floors of the North Tower there at the World Trade Center. Tragically, he left behind his wife and 3 children who were forced to learn to live a life without their husband and their dad. Ryan Sliwak, the son of Robert Sliwak, joins me now for more on his father's legacy. Ryan, good to see you. You were only 18 years old on September 11th. 8 years old. What do you remember about that day?
Thank you very much for having me. Yeah, it was 7 at the time. I actually turned 8 4 days later on the 15th. I remember the entirety of the day for the most part. I remember my mom got the phone call and I was walking out of our front door, heading to elementary school. And from there, I remember she sent us to elementary school. And then the next couple of days were a little bit hazy. I don't remember per se exactly what had gone on. I just remember people being in and out of the house. And my mom wanted me to have one more birthday where this wasn't looming over it completely. So she had sat down me, my brother and sister in a preserve near our home on the 16th and let us know that our dad had passed and he wasn't coming home.
Wow, I can actually see your dad in you as I'm looking at these pictures and looking at you now. You know, it's been 24 years since you've been able to see your dad. What do you remember about him?
We had a really close relationship, even though I was only 7. I can remember sitting by the back door, waiting with my glove to have a catch with him. Overall, if I had to encompass it completely, it was just I remember how much he loved being a dad. Sorry.
It's okay. It's all right.
But yeah, that part of him the most, and just how much he loved being around people altogether, but being a dad.
What a blessing that you have those memories. There were babies born, Ryan. There were kids 1, 2, 3 years old that only have pictures. I mean, how lucky for you to have actual memories and looking at these pictures of you guys together as a family and in the pool. And I know that short-lived relationship has continued to impact you because it has shaped you as a person clearly. Tell me what had happened, that loss, how it impacts what you do today.
Oh yeah, it's been instrumental. I think one of the things for me growing up, when you go through tragedy, I don't think you need any more meaning of life. I think you have plenty of meaning. What you need to figure out is what do I do with all of it? What kind of purpose do I have with this? And I think for me, growing up, I definitely felt that meaning, and it drove me to do a lot of different multitude of things. But ultimately, I think where I ended up was in the mental health field, working in psychology. I had done my research and finished up my doctorate and did my dissertation, looking at the experiences of children who lost a parent on 9/11. And from there, I specialized in PTSD treatment and assessment. And I'm currently a clinician at a clinic in Boston, working with special operators community doing brain health evaluations and PTSD treatment and assessment within that population as well. And I feel considerably fortunate to get to work with this population overall. I feel like I owe them in some capacity because of 9/11. So it's super rewarding coming in here every day. I don't consider it work at all in the slightest bit.
What a gift for you, and what a gift for those that you sit down and you work with. I'm curious, when you're in a counseling session, how often does it come up? And when you do talk about losing your father on 9/11, do you see just a change in the session with whomever it is you're counseling?
Mm-hmm. It comes up pretty frequent in terms of either they've enlisted because of 9/11, they were deployed because of what had occurred on 9/11. And I think as we move further and further away from it, some of that meaning gets lost. I never actually verbalized directly that I lost a parent on 9/11. I kind of keep that to myself throughout my clinical work, but I try to figure out ways, how do I use that felt sense of what that's like to further deepen our connection and deepen some of the work together. And I think that's translated quite nicely within a lot of clinical work and the relationships that I've been able to facilitate with them while they're in here. It's an intensive 2-week program, so they come in for 2 weeks. They get treatment all day, every day, and I see them for 2 weeks straight. So it's a really quick turnaround, also. But for me, it's felt like I've had a really better sense of understanding, that felt sense of understanding, just bringing that into the room. It hasn't necessarily been something that needs to be verbalized, but that felt sense of connection that can take place because of it.
And as you start your own family, how do you make you sure that your dad is still a part of it?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's been part of grief journey overall. I think when you lose someone, especially in this capacity, there's that kind of motivation. Grief feels like a motivational state. And I think as I've been developing and growing and moving through various stages of life, it's almost giving myself permission to start to let go of some of those parts so I can bring him forward with me in a different capacity. Meaning as I develop and change, our relationship would change as well. And what would that start to look like? I think it's easy to stay in that motivational state, and it feels like you're stuck in the past in some capacity. So giving yourself that grace and permission to start to let go so you can transfigure that relationship with him. I mean, even on days like today, being in Boston, for example, I'm from Long Island originally, but I always try to imagine what it'd be like to go to a game to Fenway with him, which I know we used to go to Met games growing up. It's just, what would the relationship now look like as I continue to grow and develop? And how would it probably more than likely shifted from more of a father-son relationship to friendship?
You have definitely extended yourself a lot of grace. Thank you so much, Ryan, just for talking about your dad and also what you're doing now to keep his memory alive within your own family and with all those special patients that you see on a regular basis. You definitely have a gift. Thank you so much, Ryan, for your time.
Thank you very much for having me on here. I appreciate it.